What's up, everybody? It's your favorite turncoat's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Combiner Wars Leader Class Megatron. And this is a decent figure, but I am going to nitpick about a few things. But before I do, I need to do a little bit of house cleaning. I want to first make sure I thank John GARRINGER. He sent me this as a gift, and he has a YouTube channel as well. And in the description, you'll find a link to it. He did a video recently where he did his top 5 favorite reviewers, and I actually have a reaction of myself watching it.
My number 1 pick, my personal favorite reviewer as of
Here we go.
is Bobby Skullface. I really enjoy his videos.
But truthfully, I was humbled and shocked and honored and am grateful. So he reached out to me and said he'd reviewed this and he was kind of done with it, and you know, he'd be willing to pass it on to me, and I'm going to review it and I'm going to pass it on to somebody else, kind of pay it forward. I don't really have a place for this in my collection, so it'd be a little greedy of me to just say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and hold on to this bad boy. Thanks for the gift. So I want to pass it on to somebody else. I'll be sending it to Oscar and J-Boy, a friend of mine, and a pretty funny, entertaining reviewer. Don't take him too seriously, because he doesn't take it so seriously either. But it should be a good time. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this guy. So he's got some accessories. He's got these 2 guns. One is a gun, single black cast, not a lick of paint. And the other one is some sort of gun-ish thing, single black cast, not a bit of paint. He does hold them well and all that, as you saw. And he comes with his arm cannon, which, you know, if you have it this way, it looks a little bit more G1 reminiscent. If you have it kind of this way, it looks a bit like a hypodermic needle, which is unfortunate. But it does have this gimmick here, so there's that. Moving down, the figure's silhouette is pretty good. You know, overall, it looks like Megatron, but let's take a bit of a detailed look, shall we? So his head is on a swiveled hinge, like a lot of masterpieces are, which is actually my favorite robotic articulation for head, so to speak. So you get up and down, and then the swivel, no problem. He's got light piping in there. The head sculpt itself, to me, it's like his cheeks are a little chubby or something. Like, it doesn't quite look like Megatron to me. It doesn't have the feel of a knockoff or anything. Like, it's well sculpted. The plastic is typical Hasbro, like fairly, you know, light but sturdy. But the paint's all done clean in there, like the black paint even on the inside of the cheek. That's done very clean, but the sculpt just seems off just enough where it has like almost a knockoff quality to the head. That's just my personal opinion. Individual results may vary. The other thing I like is that you can, these treads here for the tank, you can separate them, and you know, you could display them out to the side or up. Like I think he has them up in the comics. It's been a while since I've looked at it. I'm looking forward to the new trade that comes out this month, though. Or you can have them together like this and out of the way. And as you can see, kibble-wise, he cleans up quite nicely. Quite nicely, I must say. Let's move on down the figure. So we got some red in here for the transformation, which is a little unsightly, but not the worst thing in the world. Nice purple paint in there. Decepticon symbol. This bothers me, and I'll tell you why. This is supposed to be IDW Megatron. So why didn't they just say, you know what, we're going all the way. You know, go hard or go home, and throw that Autobot symbol on there. Shout out to Greg for Mercy. I already saw that he fixed his with an Autobot symbol. So, I don't know. I just feel like if this is IDW Megatron, he should be an Autobot at the moment anyway. Maybe have like the reversible bit where you could, you know, that would have been nice. And since this transforms, I don't think it would have been too much of a big deal. Maybe it would have been. I don't know. I think they could have worked it out. They put a man on the moon, right? I think they could have worked that out. So then we got some red paint down in here and some orange paint, blue, red. It's all done quite nicely. The only bit that's kind of left unattended to is this middle bit, which you don't really see. So no harm, no foul. Shoulders. One of my biggest complaints of this figure. So they work fine. Soft ratchet that's completely visible. And it hinges here as well on a soft ratchet. So you get, tons of articulation. No problem. But it's unsightly. Now that's not too bad. But if you wanted to go this way, now it looks bad. Now it looks worse. I don't care for that. I don't care for that one bit. And it even has a little bit of a swivel there, so it even has a bit of a butterfly joint. So the articulation's on the money. It's just aesthetically, it does fall apart after a certain range of motion. So we got this this silver finish kind of on the whole thing, red up in here, which is done nicely. Hands, which is bicep swivel, ratcheted, elbows on a hinge, wrist swivel. Nothing for the hands. Over here, same thing, except you have this gun, which you can articulate onto the top of his arm to kind of give you that look. And now that is, at least it was thoughtful of them. I must give it to him to have the option there. I like that. Waist swivel, hindered by the backpack, but you can get the backpack out of the way and bring it up, and then get the full swivel, no problem. Skirt looks good, looks very Megatron-y. I wish this red piece here would have been black as well, so you didn't have this little, kind of little red rocket jump off kind of thing coming out there. That seems bizarre, like a bizarre choice. And then the skirts here, they allow for full articulation. Not a problem there. Ratcheted universals, which work perfectly. Thigh swivel. Knees on a soft ratchet. Limited range of motion. You get back to about there. I'm sorry. And then forward, I think, one notch. Yeah. Down the figure. This is cool, and that way it transforms is cool. It's nice. I guess you can say that's a foot tilt, but you don't really need it this way so much as you need it the other way, right? And then not a rocker, really, but DX9 is fixing that, supposedly. So cool in the gang. So let's transform this guy. There's a couple things you can do to just kind of get yourself set up for success. Open these up and bring them up. Fold the feet up. And bring these hand covers down. And then you got it kind of cleaned. So from there, take this chest cavity, pop it up, it double hinges down. And then you can fold the arms up just to kind of get them out of the way. Bring the cannon down. In order to tell if your cannon is lined up right, look for the peg to line up with that. Otherwise you might have it backward. So, I mean, it's not a huge deal to fix, just pointing it out. Bring down the red rocket. And then, let's see here. Take these out to the side. It hinges there at the knee. These, this pelvis plugs in to there and there. Bring this up, plug that in. Bring this up, plug that in, and then it's just kind of a matter of cleaning her up. Done and done. In service. Okay, so here's tank mode with the two accessories plugged in here. The missile fires. Voila. The treads roll. And the turret turns on somewhat of a, notching type system. And overall, that's pretty clever. The only thing that, the guns peg in here, and it doesn't look stupid, which is rare, right? It's rare that the guns peg in on top of a vehicle and they don't look dumb. Overall, it's pretty well done. This is the only thing that kind of looks like, maybe looks a little unfinished. But that's really kind of nitpicking, right? The big complaint for this mode is that the turret doesn't move because of the way it works. Let me get you a size comparison. There it is next to Bumblebee. So decent size. Very nice. Now, I know people have been doing size comparisons with Optimus MP10, but that literally makes me nauseous. So here is Motor Master. So that's a Voyager comparison. So he's a big boy. But this scale still kind of works for what they got going on. So final thoughts. I have found that although I do like him, I can't... Although I do think he's a decent toy, I can't in good conscience recommend him, and I'll tell you why. He's very difficult to pose in any sort of dynamic pose in this, mainly because of the shoulders. Like, this kind of works, but he can't even get his arm all the way up. I really don't like that they chose the Decepticon symbol. I think it really would have shown a little bit of balls, for lack of a better word, to have thrown the Autobot symbol on there. I'm not crazy about the head sculpt. I don't hate it. It's not a deal breaker, but when you start looking at all the other things that are wrong with this thing, you know, then that sort of just adds on to the pile. I don't like the hand transformation, and then it creates the most kibbly part of him are like these two pieces that hang off of his forearms, which seems to be the easiest piece to fix. So I'm not crazy about that. Lack of an ankle rocker on a figure this size is just unforgivable, in my opinion. This is a $50 toy. Now wait, before you start typing, no, it's $45.96. Just a quick heads up. Human beings usually don't speak like that. Usually they don't say something is $45.96. We can round it down to 45 if you like. I just tend to round it up. I'm not sure why your alien leaders, before they dropped you off here, didn't inform you that nobody includes change in an exact price. They just sort of give you a roundabout number. So let's say 45, just to give the thing a break. Right, so this is a $45 toy, so we're getting dangerously close to the price of like a Figuarts or a Figma type figure, and this does not deliver on that level whatsoever. Like, if this was a $30 figure, 35 maybe, you know, maybe 40 on a good day if they would have fixed this bit of business up in there. It would have been a lot more forgivable and a lot more rewarding, I think, for the price point. I think at first glance I was really impressed by it, but then I realized I was impressed by it because I didn't spend my hard-earned money on it. And the moment that I realized it wasn't my money, I started thinking about what if it had been my money, and I think I would have been disappointed. That's not to say it's a poorly done toy, it just seems like it's priced itself out of its quality. I also sympathize with the Chug collector because I think it must be frustrating to be a collector of that line. Like, you know, the Megatron you get is decent, but it's huge, and then you get an Optimus and a wave before it that's like half the size. Like, it must be rough. I mean, like, you know, it must be frustrating, and I do really sympathize. And also, before I get to the positives, I know there's some sort of fan mode where it's like a gun type of thing. I didn't do it because I kind of like this toy, and I wanted to kind of, even though I was going to point out the negatives, I was going to accentuate a few positives. And I think had I put it in that mode, which I've seen pictures of, I would have hated it because I think it looks ridiculous. On to the positives. The silhouette is Megatron. It cleans up well. It looks like IDW Megatron in a lot of ways. And there's little tricks and tips you can do with the tracks and everything else to kind of give you that more IDW feel. I think it's a decent Megatron. I think it's just a bit overpriced, and I think it doesn't scale well with the rest of the line that it's geared towards. But I think if you were a hardcore Chug guy and your options are Hegemon for $100 and up, which is maybe even a little small for a proper Chug line. I don't have Hegemon, so I don't know. I've only seen pictures, but it kind of seems that way to me. Or this, which is less than half the price and does a decent job of doing its job. I think the more that you put in front of it, the better it'll look. Unfortunately, it's one of those toys, and you're going to have to keep him in kind of a stoic pose because the moment it starts getting dynamic, the more those flaws become apparent. But outside of that, he can work for your collection if that is the focus of your collection. So, thanks again to John Garringer. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.